One-foot-flipper.
Hi, Paige here, the 1 Foot Flipper, and today we're going to talk about 8 pieces of equipment that are vital to at least my eBay success and probably to yours as well. Now, of course, this is a piece of opinion, and like I've noticed in my videos where I give opinions and direct advice, I get a lot more negative comments and a lot more dislikes than I do on What Sold videos, simply because I'm going to get some people disagreeing with me. And I know I'll get some people disagreeing with me here just on a video about equipment. I know I will, just based on the very first item that's going to be on this list. And if everything works fine for you without this equipment, that's just fine. You don't have to do what I'm saying to do. Nobody's making you do it. Nobody's bending your arm. If you're totally successful and happy with where you're at, then you keep on keeping on. But let's look at our first piece of equipment here. Our first piece of equipment that I think is critical is a desktop computer. A desktop computer, preferably with 2 monitors. I use 3 monitors myself, but I feel like I need a minimum of 2 just to get any work done. And the reason why I say specifically to use a desktop computer is, for one thing, I've got so many things plugged into the thing that it wouldn't make any sense to use a laptop because you'd lose the portability factor anyway. And the other reason is, if you're a big eBay seller, you're going to be typing all day long. Do you want to type on that horrible laptop chiclet keyboard, or do you want to type on a high quality keyboard? I use a specific model of mechanical keyboard with no number pad, and I keep one in reserve because I can type much faster on this keyboard. And if I can type faster, then I can get more listings done, I can get more work done, and I can make more money. I'm barely functional on a laptop. And we're not even going to talk, actually we are going to talk about phone, because I know a lot of you do everything on eBay on your phone. And you will hear some sellers with YouTube channels say the same thing. I find the phone app to be almost completely non-functional on anything but the most basic level. You can't even do most of what I spend my eBay day doing on the phone app. You can't mark down items en masse. You can't send offers en masse. You can't create or edit 10, 15, or 300 listings at a time. It's hard to set up business policies or any of that stuff on the phone. You really don't want to be doing eBay from your phone. And particularly given how cheap desktop computers are now, I wouldn't see not investing in one immediately if you're trying to do the whole thing from your phone. You don't need to even buy a brand new one. That $100 refurb at Micro Center will probably be all you need. Just make sure it can plug 2 monitors into it, and you can pick up a couple of monitors for $10 each on Facebook Marketplace. People are getting rid of monitors constantly. I'm actually using 3 matched ones that are pretty high quality, but you don't need that for business. That is not required at all. All right. Okay, your next piece of critical equipment for your eBay business, at least as far as I'm concerned, is a thermal printer. Now, I'm going to make a few more enemies here, but because I'm not going to say to go with a Rollo. The reason why you hear every reseller channel talking about Rollo printers is because they're being paid to do so, or they're simply bought them because they followed other sellers who were paid to do so. If you've already got your Rollo, that's great. Use it, love it. There's nothing wrong with it, but Rollo is not the best printer in the world. And it doesn't matter if some of them have wireless features. Really, if you're going for a pro setup, you don't want anything wireless to begin with. Wireless things can have connectivity problems, and connectivity problems mean downtime. Downtime is time that you're not earning money. So if you don't already have something, I'm going to suggest purchasing a used Zebra printer. You don't need a brand new one, at all. You don't need to go out and spend $400 what it costs for a new one, because these things are used all over the place. These are the printers you see when you go into the post office or you go into UPS. That's what you see on the counter there. You don't see a Rollo there at all. You're going to see a Zebra almost every time. You're going to see Zebras widely used in retail locations because they are the real heavy-duty industry standard, and they're so good that that $100 used one might last you your entire reselling career. This one I've got here was 8 years old when I got it, and I've printed 60,000 labels on it so far. And I've got a second one down in the basement just as a backup in case anything goes wrong with this, so I can immediately replace it and get right back on track with my business. In fact, having backups for critical business equipment is very important if you want to have zero downtime. That's why I've got a spare of the mechanical keyboard I use. I've got a spare Zebra printer. I do not have a spare desktop PC just because of I use a rather high-end one. Not necessary, but keeping a spare of something that's probably going to just completely depreciate in value over time isn't really necessary. If my PC blows up, I will run to Micro Center and buy another one immediately and plug everything else back into it, and I'll be going again. But everything else I like to keep a spare of. And once again, Zebra printers, they tend to run about $100 used on eBay. Sometimes they'll be called refurbed or whatever else. They're very common in the used market because almost every time a retail store goes out of business, all of their Zebra printers hit the used market, and you can pick them up for cheap. All right, the next piece of equipment we're going to talk about here is barcode scanner. This one works both wired and wireless. It was only 10 or 12 bucks on Amazon. I don't even really think it matters what model you buy. It charges itself from the cable, and it's got a little USB thing to plug into. Another reason why I use a desktop computer. I've got so much plugged into this computer that it's crazy. I've got 10 or 15 cords coming off the back. Every USB thing in the front is filled. Couldn't do that. You couldn't do that with a normal laptop computer. Also, desktops are cheaper than laptops, so I don't know why you'd pay more money for a worse solution. But yeah, this brand is just Tau Horse. It does fine for me. I find I don't have to leave it plugged in very long for it to fully charge, and then I don't have to plug it in again for weeks. This allows me to quickly go through stacks of items on eBay to check their value, like you might do in the phone app, which I don't use the phone app really. I only use the phone app for pulling orders, and that's all I use it for. All right, next piece of equipment that I think is critical to eBay is a document camera. I use an IPEVO Ziggy HD Plus. These little guys, you can get this guy for probably $30 shipped on eBay used. And what this allows you to do is to take photographs of small items, flat items, books, CDs, DVDs. You can literally just take those pictures at your desk mid-listing. You don't have to have a separate photo session. That can incredibly speed up your listing time. There's no plugging or unplugging the phone or your camera or any of that. You can just like, boom, boom, book, put it down, photo, flip, photo, finish your listing, next listing. I have things like books and trading cards using the camera down to less than 1 minute per listing, and there's no way you're going to do that using that phone camera. You're either going to have separate photo sessions and then correlate all that, or you're going to have to be plugging and unplugging that phone. Or if you're lucky, the phone will let you keep taking pictures while it's plugged in and still show them. The iPhone used to do that, but my current iPhone does not do that. If I leave it plugged in, those new pictures will not show up until I unplug it and plug it back in. I don't know why that is, but it just seems to be what it is. That next critical item is a postal scale. I've got an Accutech. I've used this same one for years. I have a spare one in the basement in case there's any problems. Really, my only complaint about this scale is that it takes a very long time to turn on from the batteries, and that I should just really be using a power adapter with it. I don't know why I'm not, and I'm going to add that to my to-do list. These are inexpensive. You can get these on eBay or Amazon. I don't have any affiliate links. Go find somebody else who does. Old School Picker has affiliate links for stuff like this. Go buy it from his link. All right. Next thing I want to talk about is a photography background. You can go super fancy, build a light box or whatever else, or I've just got these 2 pieces of plastic that are taped together and they're on a hinge. These are old signs that they were thrown away at the gas station. These can fold up and scoot out of the way whenever I want to, or I can sit it on any surface and have a white background for my pictures. And this costs nothing to make. You could also spend money and buy something like that, but you don't have to. Next critical item for serious reseller is receipt book. This is where you keep track of all those cash buys that you're doing. You know, your garage sales, your flea markets, everything else. People do it different ways. I generally put down the dollar amount, generally what I sold. If it's a garage sale, I'll usually put the street that the sale was on. And then I'll just fill that book up for my records and I'll put those into my spreadsheets. And then last, to keep around is Beanie Baby tag protectors. Okay, not actually, but the reason why I brought these up is because any video about business advice can go stale over time. I'm recording this in 2023 in late May. This video might not be accurate 10 years from now, or even 5 years from now. There probably was a time where Beanie Baby tag protectors were a must-have item for the reseller, but they're not anymore. But what I like to do is keep around stuff to make my life easier testing. I've got a bin here full of batteries of various sorts and a few memory cards that allows me to easily test most electronic items that come into my place. Oh, and I have a few bonus items. Probably going to want to keep around a tape measure. People are always wanting dimensions of things. I actually also have a tape running along the side of my desk, so when I'm packing things I can just slap the box up against the side of the desk 3 times to get all my dimensions instantly, and that saves a lot of time and saves a lot of fidgeting around looking for that tape measure. All right, that was a bonus item. All right, thanks so much. Hey, if you've made it this long, why don't you like and subscribe? I'm creeping up on 4,000 subscribers here, hoping someday to catch some of the people who've inspired me on YouTube. Right now I'm trying to catch Old School Picker. I never will, though. Every time I gain a subscriber, he gains one, so he's going to maintain that lead on me probably forever. But maybe someday I'll catch somebody. Thanks for watching, and good night.